I'm Cambodian, and I was born in the Pol Pot regime. Came to Australia about 1989. I started high school here, went to university in America, came back to Australia and finished off a degree in engineering here, and ended up being a principal instead. It only started about 2.5 to 3 years ago, and I started a school. I tried to find a lot of passion in my career. I wanted to know what it is that I wanted to do, and I went from medicine to engineering, finally to being a principal, something I wanted to do for a long time.
My name is Ratana. At the moment, I am working for Insurance Australia Group as an actuarial analyst, and I am also the president of the Khmer Youth Associations of New South Wales. I've been involved with the Khmer Youth Associations for about 4 years now, since 2003. When I first started, I was the event coordinator, and I started working there for 4 months before the elections, and I was voted as the president since then on.
My name is Seang Heng. I work as an accountant for the past 12 years now. Prior to that, I worked for the ATO for 5 years. When I came to Australia back in April 1983, I of course took an English course and then went on to high school. From there, I did the matriculation at Liverpool College and went on to the Wollongong University.
My name is Helen Ang. I'm 28 years old. Currently I work as a marketing manager at Commonwealth Bank of Australia. I was originally born in Battambang, Cambodia, and came to Australia as a refugee, and now I'm living in Sydney, Australia. I have been an active member of the Cambodian community. That was some time ago, back in 1995 through to 1997, and essentially I was the Vice Secretary of the Cambodian Youth Association, and was responsible for helping to promote and preserve the Cambodian culture and its values to the Cambodian youth.
My name is David Saw. I'm 35 years old, and I've been a general practitioner for the past eight years, although I've graduated about 10 years ago. Well, I was born in Cambodia, but I came here in about 23 years ago. There was some interest in doing medicine when I was a high school student. So when I was able to get into university doing the course, I thought it was a really good idea at the time.
My name's Terry Corley. I'm 27 years old. I've been living in Australia since I was about 2 years old. I've grown up around in Sydney all my life, or in Fairfield West, and currently working in the city. My day-to-day duties involve basically a bit of support for people using the systems, advertising systems that they use on a day-to-day basis, whether they're web-based, desktop applications.
I've never planned to be a lawyer. I initially wanted to be an economist, an accountant, but as I went to university and I realized that there's actually a lot more of those people around, but I became more interested as choosing the path as a career as a lawyer, because I love the idea of being able to help other people in the community, and that puts me in the right position, because I came from Cambodia, and I had in my early days with my parents, I had problems with the authorities in Australia, and naturally as I went to university I started to change my mind, and I said, well, economists and accountants was no longer an option that I want to follow the path. So I thought, choosing a law career might give me the opportunity to put things straight, and especially dealing with the authority.
Over 20 years ago, it was sort of very united. We worked together because we didn't know much about this country. We didn't know much about the culture or the history of Australia. We didn't know much about other ethnicity. Because of that, most of the youth would get together and do things together, helping each other. Not only that, the youth also helping the elders because they couldn't speak the language.
When I was a student, university student, we started the Sydney University Khmer Student Association at the time. Of course, it's no longer functional. And I was also involved in the Khmer Youth Association for about 2 years as well, around that time, about in the 90s. At the time in university, nearly every nationality has their own student association, and the Cambodian student didn't have one. I mean, mainly due to the fact that there weren't too many of us around, but somehow we managed to gather about 20 people or so, which was the minimum number required to form an official association.
It was successful than the youth group. Today's youth mostly born in this country. This is the first generation that were born here. They have adopted the Australian cultures, of course. Parents were so busy either going to work or having a small business, not having so much time to stay around with their kids. Because of that, really those kids were alienated, if you like, by their own parents. I'm not saying that all parents are like that. Of course, there's a lot of parents that also look after their kids well, but there are the whole chunk of the other sections that are not so good in attending to their kids.
Our community is very tight, very small, and not many educated people, especially in the law field. So I thought, well, I have to be something, and I have to do that because not many of us are lawyers. And what use is there if I don't have that kind of ambition?